Hello, 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 and welcome back to Factorio. The factory must grow. So it's day 2, and let's give this factory a go. Um, Quickly gonna make sure my stream's actually up and running because I've had issues with this before. Nope, we're good. Got just the right amount of echo. Actually, hang on. Let me make sure that the game audio is streaming as well. Hang on. Should and let's give this. Well, there's a couple seconds of lag. We're gonna make sure my stream's actually up and running because I've had issues with this before. Nope, we're good. Got just the right amount of echo. Actually, hang on. Let me make sure that the game audio is streaming as well. Hang on. Should and let's give this. Well, there's a couple seconds of lag. Okay, so it seems like the game audio is coming through, but it's pretty darn quiet. I'm gonna boost it just slightly. If it becomes an issue, holler at your boy, let me know that the levels aren't good. And I'll lower my volume a little too to compensate. We'll go there. Alrighty, and okay, let's get started. So right off the bat, where were we? Oh right, we were trying to juggle a few different things. I'm not actually seeing. There we go. It does look like it's capturing audio okay. Does look like it's capturing audio okay. Does look like it's capturing audio okay. So now I guess the next step would be let's get on with the playing. So we've got the biter colonies getting slightly larger. We've got absolutely no tools to fight them with. We just started working on the foundry. We've got a whole bunch of belt that's automatically being produced. That's good. We don't have a whole lot in the way of splitters, so let's quickly throw down some splitter production. What does splitters require? Splitters. Splitters require chips, so okay, I can't get splitters to go just yet. They require gears. Oh, for the love of God, make some assemblers. And let's set this to gears. Just give me a nice gearbox over here. Gears pretty much never a waste, so we'll just get a pile of gears going for when I'm ready to make a whole bunch of splitters. In the meantime, let's grab a whole bunch of plate. Where are we on furnaces? 30 furnaces is plenty. This tiny little tap on the coal mine is actually all that we need right now. It's fantastic. Oh yes, we automated this science, sort of. Oh wait, what just happened? I took it all out. There you go. And doing that stack. I think, oh yes, we made a gun setup here. Not a setup of guns, a setup to produce guns. So let's take the stack of turrets, let's take the stack of ammo, and let's set up a northern perimeter. Oh my god, look at that timing. Look at that timing, though. Like, right on time. Where you guys came from. Oh, are there more? Are we under attack elsewhere? No, just here. Now, the radar has been completely destroyed. So, good job. But the radar was what was attracting the attack. So we're going to go and set up some towers up north. Man, we just stirred up the hornet's nest. There we go. I don't know how to swap that weapon otherwise. Alright, oh my god, they're just coming at me, huh? We're gonna need to take that colony out. It's gonna be a constant nuisance until we do. Let's do... a little bit of a natural barrier to directly approaching. I don't know if this works or not, but that's at least some guard there until I'm ready to deal with them. Okay, let's get to work on the foundry. I want to try and set up a couple lines of metal today, and then possibly more than that. Grab this, grab this. We have plenty of inserters to work with. Grab our gearbox. Okay, why can we not just make these? We need raw iron. For the love of God, just give me raw iron then. Shouldn't be that complicated. Uh-huh, that's plenty. Make a stack of splitters. Okay. We have the outline of a foundry here, and it's only working off of 2 belts of copper. So we're just gonna quickly scale this up by putting all of the different engines of mining into play. Looks like we're a little too close to the factory line here. Let's see how much we can manage to empower without worrying. And technically the drill encompasses spaces around it, so it's not a problem that I left a small gap. Oh wait, there's coal in that line. So I don't want to tap the coal. There's no coal here, so we can tap this. Tap that. Can't tap here because there's 300 coal. So we'll do that. Good. Alright. Max tapped. Same with this line. Make sure there's no coal. Otherwise we end up with a bunch of furnaces that just stop working because coal clutters them. Another handful of miners placed. Notice that I have all the gears and chips I need in my pocket so that the production of the miners is actually relatively straightforward. Otherwise I'd be crafting all the intermediates right now and it'd take a lot longer. This is pretty lousy. This is a really lousy early copper patch. Just given how close the coal is, I'm gonna need to expand my copper production in the near future, probably. Okay, we've got 1 ribbon of copper turning into 1 ribbon of copper plate. We're gonna need to do that twice more. Is that enough space? Let's find out. We're gonna need a coal line coming. I'm just gonna copy my prior design. We're gonna need a coal line. We're gonna need to insert coal. We're going to need to insert it into a furnace. We're gonna need to put it into an output belt. And this can be the output belt. Actually, we could even double up the output belt, technically, because these are just gonna merge up at the top. No, don't get complex. There. So this is how much space we need, and we'll have a gap. Meanwhile, we're gonna need a long arm inserter. We need a stack of them. We're gonna need a long arm inserter to then power that up, and that's that's the first half. Meanwhile, we're going to need a long arm inserter going the other way to load with coal, to load with copper, to output copper. So as long as we can get this connected to the coal line, we'll be golden. This is the incoming coal line. Let's fork it off over here. How do we want to handle this? I think we just want to interrupt all belts coming in with this so that there's free space to work with. Wrong direction, that's fine. Fix that. We fix those. There we go. So now we have the incoming line. Here is the no-fly zone. Oh wait, this is the coal line, so we can actually just plug this in directly. Whoa! We're under attack. We're under attack, and it's bad. We just lost everything. Okay, we lost the power line. We nearly lost our giant supply of good stuff. This is where it gets interesting. I would like nothing more than to continue to focus entirely on building my factory. I can't. I just lost a huge manufacturing plant, presumably here, that makes wire. And the sad part is, I have no idea where the attack came from. I think it's from here. I think basically the biters are telling me, deal with us or we will make your life a living hell. Which means my next tech has to be higher military production. Maybe heavy armor is a good start. And as many rounds as I can spare. Let's go ahead and add another production station. Did I lose the tech lab? No, I didn't. Good. Still running. There's no guarantee that that will be true next time, so we're going to drop a important last line of defense kind of situation here. Now, what does it take to make a wall? Stone bricks. I should probably kick up a stone furnace into wall making at some point. Has this been effective at all? It doesn't look like anything came by here since the last time we had deployed it. That's about to change. Good. So a few turrets can very effectively control space at this level of difficulty. Or I should say at this level of growth. Spitters can... Spitters always aim where you're about to end up if you keep moving in a straight line. They're astonishingly good aim. Whoa, what was that sound? I heard something breaking. Oh, that was just my turret that I put too far forward. That's fine, I don't care if that breaks. That's supposed to break. Alright, from this spot... Oh, we ran out of ammo on all of my turrets. This spitter is a real pain. If I could get rid of it, I'd be a happy man. Good. Great. Alright, I need to regenerate HP, so let's get out of combat, drop aggro, and wait. This feels like such a colossal waste of time to me. I wish I was working on my factory. Instead, I am letting time get the better of me, but it's kind of necessary, right? if I don't take the time for this now, I'm gonna lose even more time coming back in the middle of God knows what to build back God knows what breaks. Thank God I put that tiny little weapon generating station on the belt, or I would have like nothing going for me right now. I'd have no guns, no turrets. I'd be taking a stack of iron and just trying to make it raw. Okay, so we've cleared out that nest. There's one more nest ahead. Do we go for the nest or not? I'm fairly confident that the attacks I'm facing right now are coming from here, as opposed to like giant sweeping runs from here, though that is possible. So I feel like limiting this is going to slow down the biter ingress a lot. Alright, we have cleared out the big nests. We left the worms, that's fine. If they want to re-establish camp, they can. Good enough for now. Off we go. Significant attrition, ran out of a lot of bullets, but we made it. Next, grab whatever turrets have been stacked up. I will hang on to those. Grab whatever firearms have been stacked up. Make another round of firearm production because clearly this is going to be an ongoing issue. And this is not a high enough rate. The biggest limiting factor I felt there was I didn't have the bullets I wanted. So now, if you could... Wait, this is not helpful. Just make me another pile of bullets here. I can always turn these off later, but for now I'd like all of that to go. Okay, back to what we were actually doing. And also, is my stream still going? It is. Excuse me. It looks like we are all caught up live. Okay, excellent. So now we've got copper successfully coming out, copper successfully going through. We've got one belt of copper coming. It's coming fine. It's going to have the coal line. It's going to attach here, come down this way, and we're going to continue the theme of this is a bypass junction, goes through. This is the initial output. This is the final output. And this is where they meet up. Let's turn the power on this. In theory, we have copper plates coming out on both sides. Great. Perfect, even. Let's go down a layer. Did I mess that up? I messed that up. It's fine. This music reminds me of Jurassic Park for some reason. There's no need to do the turn, actually. It would work just as well if it was a straight shot across. Yeah, perfect. Perfect. So now we've got 2 lines of copper. We're coming from the wrong side. We meant to go from below. No matter, no matter. It's an easy fix. We just do this. No, what am I thinking? We don't need to do this. We can just do this. There we go. 2 lines of copper. We're gonna run out of belt on the way over, probably. That's fine. Grabbers and chips, please. And you make a half dozen somethings for me, that'd be great. How are we doing on power? Oh, we're good for the grid. We'll grab gears. They're always nice to have. Grab belts. Grab over-unders. Back to the belting. Now, it might seem like I'm taking a long time setting all this up, and I am. But there's a method to the madness. If you spend a decent amount of time setting up your systems, then later on it becomes much easier to utilize them and even expand them. Whereas if you are too hasty in like just make something work, you end up doing a lot more work down the road, breaking and refixing it. Oh, there's a radar here? Ooh, bad idea. That's gonna attract buggers. Which I guess, you know, is to be expected, but probably exercise a modicum of caution. So if we're gonna do this, we're gonna need to do this. Okay, 2 lines of copper set up. That actually sets us in the direction of the factory at large. What do we need here? Gears, greens, and iron plates. Let's just grab a ton of iron plates. And gears. And if I haven't made them yet, make a bunch of these red ones too. And now we can fully tap this iron mine because we are no longer producing one by hand. We're producing en masse by hand. Good. Good enough. If you have to choose between your copper being in high supply and your iron being in high supply, it's no contest. You want the copper to be in the iron to be in high supply. So as much as it's not nice to have had such a sloppy copper spot, it's worth it if the trade-off is that I get a great iron spot. Alright, that's all set. Now let's cross-link power. Cross-link to the power. So now here we've got a line of iron. So now we have a line of iron, a line of iron. This is not a line of iron. 1 and 2 lines of iron come through. They get processed through 1 and 2 lines. So it's 2 lines per 1. So this is going to be 1 line per 2. So this is going to be... this is not good. Not good. Whatever. When I need to build this out, I will. For now, I just want to set up something here that goes that way and call it even. So... line of iron comes through. Where's my coal supply? Coal supply is split here to half and half. Coal supply is split here. Too close. Coal supply is split here. Good. So here's where the coal supply is coming in right now. We need a coal line. We have a heavy-duty iron line here. It's going to need to be massively produced into, so anything coming off this line is going to have to produce in both directions. Boop, boop, boop. with coal shoveled in from here. This is going to be interesting. How do we get coal into this system? Iron gets in here. That's fine. I guess we can do what we did last time. Coal can come in from... Iron comes in here, coal comes in here. Coal line comes down the middle. Coal comes in here, iron comes in here. Power, power. So we process this line aggressively that way. Let's see if this works. I may not be able to get away with too tight a design like this. I might need to leave spaces for power. That's entirely possible. We'll find out. Okay, so first, let's power the system. And then, of course, iron comes out, iron comes out. Far side iron is easy. For power, I mean. Just use the space we've got. Product line, product line. But this pole has to go in order to make this happen, so it has to be every other one, I think. Yep, it has to be every other one. And now, outputs, outputs. Good. No, not my first. Oh, I am in the wrong chat window. Let me see. Hey Gaggle Guy, pleasure to see ya. No, not my first. I actually have just about all the achievements you can get in this game. The only ones I'm missing now are Golem and Minions, which are not like the hardest ones I have. There is no spoon, which is like beat the game in 8 hours or less. Here's the thing. The last time I played this game was so long ago that I don't actually remember a lot of what I usually do and how I usually do it. And I also usually play with biters either off or really low, so to have them on completely normal settings is kind of like my hard mode, I guess you could say. But this is one of my favorite games to play. It tickles all the right engineering question stuffs that I enjoy thinking through. This is a true story. I once went to work and still very much had this game on my mind, and I had this complex formula I was working on, doing math on what the optimal cracking ratios for whatchamacallit, oils to heavies to lube, etc. was so that I could make plastic production with no loss. And I ended up coming up with a like I had a eureka moment where I came up with the formula, and then I explained to a colleague who was asking me, curious, well, what are you doing? It's like, oh, I've just come up with the formula that I need so that I can blah blah blah, so that I can finish making my rockets for my nuclear reactor. In a game, in a game, in a game. I'm not actually trying to refine uranium. That would be ridiculous. Fun times. Actually, so one thing I will say is my claim to fame in this game is that I actually never did look up numbers and tables while playing. Anything I came up with blueprint-wise, style-wise, gameplay-wise, strategy-wise is original. Well, that's not and so when you see someone else doing the exact same thing or something similar, or it turns out that you had guessed the quote-unquote correct ratio, or you hadn't guessed it, you'd mathed it, it feels so validating. But it also means that the things that I haven't calculated, I tend to be doing grossly wrong efficiency-wise. But my goal is usually not perfect efficiency, it's good enough. You know what I should do at some point, I'm not doing it right now. Let me save this temp. At some point I should load up one of my like giant free play factories. Like if you look here, Spider Army and Spider Queen are exactly what you think, where this is a 42 hours into the game I made a giant spider army that I could send off wherever I wanted to do whatever I wanted. Oh man. Oh, this is 100 rockets. Where the goal was just to get 100 rockets launched by any means necessary. That's fun times. And also somewhere on my YouTube channel, I don't know where exactly, but it probably is actually a video. I made a time lapse of a full rocket launch. And that was fun. All right, logic question. How are we going to get this parallel line through here? We could cut the top layer of production here. I think that's the correct answer. Let's undo this top layer of production so that I'm not beholden to it. And then do one more pass through here. Now we get into spaghetti if I decide to... Maybe it's okay. Maybe it's okay, because this is a really... No, just redo it. Just redo it. Instead of spaghettiing around the problem, I should just get rid of the problem. Alrighty, good. Yeah, I remember once when I was showing someone something, they were like, "Here, let me send you my blueprints for like all the different preset perfect calibrated things," and I was like, "Absolutely not. The fun of this game is trying to solve these problems. If someone else has already solved the problem, it's not fun anymore." And then later on, obviously, if you're trying to make a mega base, that's different. Yeah, missing the speedruns. The speedruns are the hard achievements, in my opinion. Lazy Bastard of do it while crafting nothing by hand or whatever is interesting and fun and frivolous, right? Ultimately, all you have to do is make sure you don't make any accidents and you'll be okay. But the beat the game under X amount of time constraints, that's hard, man. That's just hard. It involved a lot of save and loading, but I think that one allows you to be cheaty faced, right? You don't have to play on the hardest settings with the hardest everything. You can take it easy, pick high resources, resource rich areas, etc. And that does help significantly. I'm going to slightly expand my power grid because at this stage I'm getting pretty close to max value. Hmm. Gale guy, do I? Sorry. What do you? I think you follow me up for Netrunner as well. Is that or not Netrunner? What's it called? For Dungeon Crawl Stone Soup as well. Is that correct? These are days I'm actually branching out and playing more than one game. The horror. All right. So what we got here now? We've got 2 out of the 4 intended iron lines. Rather than sweet. Rather than make this a future problem, I'm going to pre-build, and this, yes, does involve ripping up what I've done so far. You could argue that I should have not bothered to make this temporary, but I think it was worthwhile to have this temporary stuff just to give myself the tools I needed. Going off mic for 1 sec. I will be right back. Yep. Thanks. And we're back. Okay, yeah, so even though this is like really deceptive because it looks like I have 4 lines of iron, but actually I have 2 lines of iron that have been artificially inflated. But I think it's prudent to leave the space in reserve in the future when I have trains shuffling in iron or something, I won't have to go back and rip out the guts of my internals on the factory. And do I want to do the same thing for copper? I don't know. I have to think about it. Why is this copper line completely empty and that one completely full? Oh, right, because there's no furnaces. All right, so now we have very solid production going here. I think we can start scaling up again. Let's finish building out the second copper. Let's finish building out both copper lines, and then we'll get to work on the next step. For any of you who haven't played this game, I can't recommend it enough. There's a reason it's considered. It was, if not the inventor of the genre, certainly the one that made the genre awesome and popular. It's, in my opinion, still the best in this genre. I can't sing its praises highly enough. It's great. Ain't no rocks around here. There's some rocks over there if I want a few extra furnaces. I do want a few extra furnaces. Let's go get some rocks. Indeed, some problems do have simple explanations. But honestly, this is what the game really does to you. Every 5 minutes, you're like, how can I make this better? Why isn't this better? Why is my this stopped? Oh, because I need more of this. I had so much of this. Yep. And then you started using it, and now you have none of it. You know what? Here. This is my production over the last hour, right? And just look at this. My iron production has just shot up a bunch, right? My consumption of iron just dropped. This is my copper production. My copper plate production is pretty steady and low. But once I'm done throwing up these furnaces, it's suddenly going to go high. And then my usage is going to be low. And then I'm going to plug in my copper production to like making turrets or something, and it's going to go up and down and up and down. And it's excellent. It also, if you've ever done anything involving mass production, flow, and flow, not flow dynamics, flow charting of resource management and the like, these questions of where is the bottleneck and how do I optimize and improve my bottlenecks come up all the time in real world engineering. All right, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Also you. Feeding off the main line. 1, 2, 3. And then power to it all. And why is it stopped here? Because it's going the wrong way. Of course. Alright. Feed that in. Alright, and next we have the same thing to be done on this side. If you don't automate the production of little things on the way, like the grabbers, the belts, the pulleys, whatever, you're gonna end up so behind because you end up having to make so much by hand, and every time you're trying to expand one thing, you end up behind on another. And I don't know, let me see what time I got 20 minutes left. I may or may not get to it today, but if I get to it today, you'll see my my workaround for that. Um, I found it's called a mall, but it's really just a smart solution. Okay, this is now going to produce solid amounts of copper. We can, of course, expand the system because the factory must go larger for its own sake. You know what I haven't heard in a long time? Spider attacks. I think dealing with that one near base has done a lot to slow them down. That does not mean I'm done with them, just for the moment, I have a little reprieve. I think that's a fair way to say it. Importing other people's using other people's ideas but not actually copying their blueprints. And I think once you beat the game in any fashion, you've kind of already done the work. Now it's quote unquote kosher to take designs and whatnot. 2 pure belts into 2 mixed lane belts. There are very few situations where I intentionally want a mixed lane belt. I guess that's not fair. There are some situations. I usually like my sciences to go off of a mixed so that I can like compress the distance to the factories or the science lab and such. Okay, this is obviously not finalized. There's plenty of room to grow this out further, and the pollution cloud should be checked real quick. Not bad. Not bad. These guys are within the pollution radius, but these guys haven't been hit yet. These will be hit eventually. We've got, whoa, solid oil field north. So we're growing in the direction of our oil field. That's always important. Coal is being supplied at a rate faster than it's consumed, which is excellent. And, oh, before I get too far, let's dump all of this copper into the system. Let's plug this in. Let's get on with it. We do not have enough coal here to supply all of the factories. I mean, we actually might, but this is probably worth doubling up on, so let's tap that. And this is one place I ran into trouble once. The like on this map, there were spots where coal and copper. Oh my god, yeah, this game is so hypnotic in many different configurations. Art in the factory. Um, yes. Okay. Advanced Schmelty is tempting, but so far I don't have green science automated, so let's just finish up with the last of the red science stuff. Actually, let's increase weapon damage. That's not a bad idea at all. Normally I wouldn't bother, but given that we're playing with biters and they're gonna be a pain, it's worth it. Get the 2-to-1, mux it down, and boom. Is it optimal? No, but it gets the job done. Right now, all that we're doing is extracting coal to run the furnaces and the smoke machines, and that's good enough. We've got the beginnings of a factory, gents. We've got the 4 of copper. Or sorry, 4 of iron. And now we'll clear a path. 4 of copper. And that should be shiny. Now, this is a good starting point. We could quit here. The question now isn't, can we get going? We're going now. Day 2 has gone well. The question now is, what do we do with it? The answer is, all this stuff over here, this little sideshow that was being hand-fed iron to function at all, and this little sideshow here that's been producing the means for me to then go on to produce other things, that's all going to get automated. And we're going to do that right now. We're going to need a bunch of tech labs. So let's just craft them up. Ooh, I don't want to be making that many by hand of anything. We're going to need a bunch of tech labs. 25 is plenty. I'm going to let this keep running until it's out, but we're going to split off the factory in a couple directions, and I have to decide how to do this best. Where do I want the science core of my factory to be? This is as good a spot as any. I could also run the science core off the edge through here. I'm tempted to do it that way. I don't want the science core to be a place that can get attacked easily. And all of our science is going to go through there. So so the science core of the factory could be right. We could put it by the downed ship, just for thematic reasons. Could be interesting, but this is going to end up being a huge way station to reload the artery of the factory. I'd like to leave it as uncramped as possible. Do I not have what I need for this? There we go. This is one day going to turn into a copper line. Until that day comes, it's just wishful thinking. But there's actually a whole untapped copper ore. Hand-repaired bullet turrets and steam with no bots? Wow, that's hard. Raining bullets is a hard Chivo to go for, and it sounds like you accidented into it. Nice. The moment I had laser turrets up, I would never look back. Alright, so now we're pretending that we have a nice 4 belt. We can always upgrade that later. Alright, I think I've made up my mind. I think the science core is going to be southeast of the factory's vertical ascension. So here-ish, maybe? It's not a highly defensible position. But hopefully it's also not going to attract as much biter attention since it's not super relevant. Maybe I can use these oceans as a natural form of defense. I don't know, man. The way I always felt was every bullet is iron that I can't get back. Laser is just electricity, and electricity is infinite. So for me, the challenge was, is it worth the detour of science packs and the delay in getting to the rocket? And when the answer to that question is no, okay, it's no. But when the answer is yes, all right. Why is it offering me the wrong burner? There you go, please. Thank you. The idea here is going to be to make a giant assembler. Oh, we don't need an assembler. We need a bake. We want bricks that the assembler will turn into walls. I said walls, please. Uh-huh. That the walls will then be put into a nice box that I can come back for when I'm ready. And I don't mind just using a giant supply of coal to keep this going for now, rather than actually having a correct system. We are supplying ore faster than we are using it, which is good. Let's do another one. We're supplying bricks way slower than we're using it. That's bad. So let's see if we can do another miner for a similar effect. Miner would have to be here. No, that's not what we need. We need another bake. That's what we need. So, second bake here, here. Second bake here. Second bake here. Ah, there you go. And now all we need is this bad boy here. And if that looks sloppy as heck, it's because it is. Lucky for me, I'm indifferent. I just want a quick access to some walls that I can come back and pick up en masse in the future. In the meantime, we'll just let that build slow. Because Lord knows I ain't planning on using that for anything else for a while. A purple compatible brick manufacturing. Yeah, it'll be a while before I get to that level. Okay, let's build the science core. This wide gap in the lakes is huge. This is too close. So we'll use this space. I declare this land this land. I think we should call it your grave. Ah, curse your sudden but inevitable betrayal. Uh, the idea here is any science pack inserted into the far end will naturally be carried through until it hits the last available spot. So all I have to do is set up all my sciences to come in through here, and I have not one not one tech lab slowly processing it, but a whole bunch of science labs processing it rapidly. And eventually you can mod these to make them even more efficient, but that's all future with problems. Daisy chaining, that's what this is. Daisy chaining, exactly. Um, Actually, it's interesting, but if you don't have the if you don't use fast inserters, it sometimes doesn't actually it actually can slow things down significantly. Loading the packs takes a while. Alright, so we are powered. We're powered. When we are ready, we'll start piping in science through here, like so, and it will filter all the way down to the ends. And there's the break in the system to the ends. Okie dokie, what's next? Next up, we'll be creating our factory plans. We've got iron and copper going all the way through, which is good. I think I will utilize some of the iron to make steel, some of the iron to make green chips. I think green chippery is a really important step that needs to be done urgently. So probably we fork off some green chip territory this way or this way. This way, and then we use 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm just thinking to myself, I think if we fork off some gear production. See, here's the thing. Notice what these green ingredients require: gears, plate, green chip. Gears, plate, yellow inserter. Well, that's just this. Uh, Gears, plate, plate plus this, green chip, plate plus this. All of this can be made with just those 4 ingredients. Gear, plate, green chip. What else? Let's look at the assembler machines. Gear, plate, green chip. A staggering number of recipes can be completed using just gear, plate, and green chip. So I'm thinking basically of running a system this way, which has plate on one arm, green chip on another, gear, and I'm not sure what the 4th resource necessarily needs to be. Gear, plate, green chip seems to be doing pretty good so far. It's covered every item that I'm thinking of. Gear, plate, green chip, gear, plate, green chip. Oh, what was the big machine? Gear, plate, green chip. Radars. If I add copper plates, I can also make gun turrets off of this. That's pretty sweet. I can also make shotgun shells. That's pretty sweet. And bullets, of course, is just plate. Yeah. There's something to this, guys. Um, Ooh, I could even make mining machines. Gear plate, green chip, yeah. So like legitimately, this last one can be an asterisk for now, but if I set up this here, like so and like so, with assembly machines in between them, and then pipe the output to the line outside it, like that, I can create the system where all of the cool resources I need to build a base are made in-house and then lined up neatly here for me to pick up. And that would be right here at the root of my factory, and that would be pretty sweet. Uh, but unfortunately, I'm coming pretty close to. Am I at the limit of my time? Well, I do feel like I can get away with a little more. I think green chip is important to do this with. I think gears are important to do this with, so let's do this. If this is the rough location, I actually don't need it here. It can be higher up or lower down. That doesn't matter. It's just a matter of where I want it relative to the flow of resources, right? So, oh, we disassembled the military stuff. Yeah, until further notice, you guys just keep making bullets, please, like forever. And also, heavy armor requires steel. We don't have a steel production yet. We're gonna need steel. When it's time for steel, we're gonna need to compromise our iron supply and turn it into a steel supply, and that's gonna be hard to pull off. I wish I had more iron. I feel like this isn't enough iron. But in fairness, I'm completely tapped. I'm already fully using everything I'm making, so I have more issues than just how much iron I have. Okay, so let's get started. Let's make a green chippery here. No, green chippery needs to be fully expandable. Let's make a green chippery this way so it can get as big as it needs to be. And to make a green chippery, we're just gonna make the first half of it. Where is the science core? Here? Cool. How far out do I want to go up? I guess to here, maybe? Yeah, so we definitely are only gonna build the start of it and then let the determination for how far extensively it needs to go to be based on how much I need to expand it out. So we're gonna need iron. So we'll pop the iron off the end of the. Why do we not have any of these? We'll pop the iron off the end of. Oh my god, seriously? Yeah, a green chippery can't be finished fast enough, guys. Look how long it's taken to make even one. Okay, we have iron coming out, and next we're gonna need. Okay, this is gonna drive me nuts. Hey, what does it take to make green chips? Just start making them right now. I don't care. I hate making things by hand. It's so onerous. All right. Uh-huh. So we've got the iron line here. A green chip requires direct infusion of iron, indirect supply of copper. So, where do we fork off the copper? I don't care. Let's just grab it from here for now and then come up with the right idea later. We're going to need it twice. We're going to need it on both sides. So we might actually want to go higher with the initial loss of iron. Like here or something. We'll figure this out as we get there. Okay, so copper comes off. And let's look at the following. So I'm going to explain the logic of this because it's kind of awesome. The formula is 3 copper cables to 1 iron plate. The formula for a copper cable is 1 copper plate is to 1 cable. So in theory, I need 3 copper plates to 1 iron plate to finish this, right? But in practice, a iron plate to 3 copper cables, these copper cables take they produce 2 at a time. So it's a 1-to-2 ratio, so it's 1.5 to 1. But 2 copper cables per production round means if you put out the copper cables and have them move around, you need to grab 2 of them. You initially grabbed 1 iron, and then you have to double grab coppers, right? So the faster way to do it is to have 2 grabbers feeding copper in for 1 grabber feeding iron in. And that gets you a ratio of 2 to 1. But if you actually want to hit the 1.5 ratio, because you'll notice it's 1.5 to 1, you're going to need 3 to 2. 3 copper cables for every 1 iron. So, make me a bunch of assemblers, please. We're going to go, let's give a little bit of room because, you know, not nice to be too jammed up. Copper cable. And then double feed into a green chip producer. Double feed into a green chip producer. And if you'll notice, every copper cable now has 2 grabbers grabbing it. Technically, this one is only 1, but that's because we haven't started our sequence yet. So the longer this line goes, the closer we get to the true ratio of 2 grabbers per copper. Sorry, I'm doing this wrong, aren't I? To 2 coppers being inserted for every 1 iron being inserted. Now we haven't inserted any iron. This is the level at which we need to fork off the iron line. So let's just repair all the damage done here. Nope. Boom. And outputs will go off from here and here. How are we on power? We're doing fine. And now we have green chips, which can be sent back into circulation. And moved on up. We ran out of belt. Wow. I'm going to need to go and grab some stuff soon. So, that's our green chippery. But you'll notice we're only producing half a belt's worth. So, what? Whoa, where did my whole factory lose power? I must have cut a wire somewhere that shouldn't have been cut. Okay, not good. Needs more redundancy. Good to know. We're not getting any red science production, presumably because I haven't refilled it manually with something for a while. I doubt it's the copper that's missing because we've got a tap on the copper line, so it'll be this. Grabbers, please. 330 inserters. Oof. That'll do you good. There it is. There's the box that's missing its iron. Okay. Just keep the science coming for now. We're going to have a much better system for science production any second. So, with all of this coming, we're going to have a parallel system on this side. I feel like I've messed up the ratios here. I had this all figured out before, and now I'm getting it wrong, but it don't matter that much to me. I'm just having fun here. So, good. And actually, we can tap iron both ways off the same line. Can't we? It's a little less efficient, probably. What do I lose by just lining them up perfectly? If they're not staggered, If it's every one of these has 2 going into its next one coming in, 2 coming out, it's basically the same, except I don't have the dead one in the front. So maybe I'm just doing it wrong. Maybe this is actually more efficient. No, because now you can't cross the outputs. If you have a incomplete in one, well, it shouldn't actually need to though. If it's being efficient, it shouldn't be a problem. Whatever, I don't care that much, like I said before. Anyway, one of the biggest principles of every design I've ever done in this game is that it's tileable. So, in theory, if I have an infinite amount of space in one direction or more, I can just continue the exact same design in that direction forever. Okay. Okay. Cool. So green chippery is set. Let's grab a huge pile of those because those are juicy. And doubling up on the other side. Let's line it up because symmetry. Good. Handful more, please. Good. Good. Now all we need is some copper. I know where we can find that. Right off the main artery of the factory. Just tap that artery. Like so. And keep the lines all nicely mixed. One insertion should be plenty. And if I did that correctly, and I think I did, we are now making green chips on both sides. And we can expand this so much farther. I'm not sure. Like, I thought so, because it should be 3 to 2 and stop. This right here is the problem. Like, if I get rid of this and this, then I'm closer. Then once again, I have that 3 to 2 thing going. But then I thought about it and realized, how does this actually hurt anything? At worst, I have an over usage of one and under usage of the other, but it's space-wise, it's taking the same amount of space, so I'm leaving it for now because I don't see how it hurts. I guess it's the equivalent of saying I have the exact right amount of oxygen and hydrogen to make water versus I have an abundance of hydrogen and just enough oxygen to make the same amount of water. At worst, it's no At worst, it's no worse. What do we do? Do we just... I guess the idea should be central things jump over non-central things. At worst, it's good enough. Precisely. Central things jump over non-central things should be the tenant on which the middle works. Now we have a factory that has a bunch of good stuff coming up. And if I need, I can fork any resource off in any direction that matters. And let's go grab a giant pile of bullets before I forget. If we haven't put down the radar, now is the time. I want to be knowing where things are and growing my view of the map. This will almost certainly attract biter attention, so let's put a pile of bullets here. Just to keep the core defended. Okay, we're going to rip all that up soon. So, let's review. We have green chips coming up here. What we don't have is gears. I don't know that I want a central line of gears necessarily. Gears take 2 iron plates to 1, so it's kind of like a compressed line, you could say. Steel is similar. If anything, I think we need a steel foundry running through this place. Charcoal, I don't know what needs charcoal down the road. I'm assuming nasty stuff happens if you don't run charcoal through your base. But at this stage, if I need a charcoal, I'll just import it from here or here rather than use my 2 million stash here that is so hard to mine, so few miners on it. So the question I guess that I'm trying to ask myself is, do I want a central line of gears or do I not? And I think my answer is actually going to be yes. I want a line of steel and a line of gears. And maybe that's not a good idea. Maybe I'm overdoing it, but it's my factory and I'll overdo it if I want to. So otherwise, every recipe that needs gears down the road, I need to make gears on site for. This way I can have a giant batch already done. You know what? Let's do it here. Let's do it here before it ever reaches the factory. Oh, I like that plan. So we're leaving space for 4 lines of iron, and every new line of iron that comes in is going to be... let's do this. This is the advantage of pre-drawing your lines. You don't have to worry about space considerations. You automatically start considering how to future-proof stuff because you've left enough space for its future. Alright, good. So clearly these lines of iron aren't created yet, but they will be. Allowing for that, we want gears and metal to come up here, or sorry, steel. So we should be producing steel here and belting up steel, and iron gears here and belting up iron gears. I almost am tempted to say that what we're going to do is this. We're going to presume we only have 1 line of iron in the factory and completely eat 1 line of iron to make steel. But in the future, when trains are supplying the iron, we'll use all 4 of these. So that's how our resupply is going to work. So what does it take to make steel again? You just need furnaces. And those furnaces need to be fed. And they need to be fed this. And that's it, right? Well, this is not the right fuel line to tap. This is the factory's source. This is the right line to tap. Am I ready to rip this up? I think I'm ready to rip this up. It's a shame because this has been the most successful leave it running and it will be helpful for you later that I've had all game. Except maybe when the ammo supply was ready when the biters attacked. That was pretty clutch too. Okay, so we've got... Our intention now is to make a steel doohickey. Like so. No. Bad plan. Bad on it. What we're gonna do it right. We're gonna mix these two together so they're equal. We're gonna fork off a line, mix it with coal, and that's where we make our steel. So boop, furnace, boop, steel, boop, furnace. Oh, this is the exact same design we've already done. Yeah, what am I thinking? We should just do the same thing again. There. Boom. Good. Same as before. You have a dual insertion line and a mono ditching line. This is a really bad, non-tileable location for steel production. And it's not going to work for the whole game. It's only going to work for early game. I'm going to need a better way to supply steel to this factory. I'm going to run out of steel very easily if this is how I do it. But it's good enough for getting the early game done. I'll probably get all the way past blue science with just this. And then worry about making it better in the future. And as long as I leave the lines or the space to grow it out, I'll be fine. The enemy of getting things done. Perfection is the enemy of good enough. Alright. And I've been very careful not to take any of the coal off of the fuel line for the factory. That's clutch. Alright, so now we have steel foundry on its way. Which we can expand all the way to here if desired. Etc. Every time I think of doing something and get distracted by doing something else, it's like, this is an ADHD designer. Okay. So that's steel coming up here. There's actually kind of a beauty to this, honestly. Yeah, no easy way to do that. Good. And we have to leave the fourth line available in case we really go all out. And off goes the steel production. The last thing we've decided on is gear production, and that's here. No rule says I can't make more of them downwind if it's relevant, but this could simplify a lot of recipe that I need to make in the future. Okay. This is where the assemblers come in, and we can tap this directly off. What happened here? You forgot to mix it, didn't you? You meant to split this off, not to just turn. There you go. This is the direction it's going, I think. Yeah, perfect. So now fills all lines. Okie dokie. So now, working backwards, 4 lines of iron, which we're going to want to be able to refill somewhere down there one day, possibly. So we'll leave the refill station open. But we are going to want a bunch of iron gears on the chain. Do we want the iron gears to start down here, or do we want them to start up here? I think we want them to start up north. Yeah, so let's start them up north. That's fine. Here. If I was going to get rid of the rocket, this would be the time. We'd just set this area up, but rocket's important as a landmark. Once you mine the rocket, you can never get it back, so, you know, keep it all game. Okay. So here's where we will fork that off. We'll boop, 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 boop. So this one isn't necessary yet. Iron comes out. Absolute ton of gears can be produced. This is too tight. Do I want to fork it higher so that it's not too tight? Yes, I do. What would not too tight look like? I'm gonna need space for a return line. I'm gonna need space for a drop point, an assembler, and another drop point. And that's what I'm gonna need. Should really learn my lesson and stop pre-forking things, just guesstimating every time. Alright, that's good. That's great. That's good. Just get power from anywhere, please. Iron gear wheels. Iron gear wheels in, iron gear wheels out. Perfect. And now we have our mixed belts going north. And since we have left enough space for it, we can easily invert and do it going both directions. And we don't mind interacting directly with the heart of the factory here, but we kind of do. It's bad form. There should always be space down the middle in case of, I don't even know, change of hearts, redesigns, something else that needs to be added to the belt at a low level and moved all the way to the top. So whatever space I save is good. And this is where iron gear wheels join the factory at this height. Now that we have the core of the design, we can just do this until the assemblers are working faster than the iron's flow and supply can keep up with. There you go. Alright, our factory is humming along. We are very close to being... Dang it, I could call it here or I could go for another 20. I feel like going a little longer because the fun parts are just kind of all coming together here. Let's clean up this stuff, make room. We're going to make the mall. So here, what we're going to do is make good on that theoretical idea I had from before, or that I had referenced before. We're going to create a giant supply of resources that I will use to construct the factory with in one nice central location that I can always come back to. And it occurs to me that this is actually better if I tighten it up even more. I had a very good point that I kind of glossed over, that it'll be nice to be able to decide, oops, I needed to run something down the middle of the factory in the future, and not have to tear up the core of the factory. So this column here can stay relatively empty in case I have to add a resource or like fork coal up or something, or stone one day. So for now, this is considered going on to infinity. No, power can go past the middle. Good. Okay, good. So we're going to need parallel lines. Oh, we're out of... Oh no, we ran out of belt. Just throw down a belt assembler real quick, please. Where is a belt? Belt, belt, thank you. Just keep feeding me belt into here. If you could just take all my gears and iron and turn them into belts, I would really appreciate it. In fact, here, you can have all the gears you want right here. Just make me belts. Thanks. Okay, that'll keep working. Okay, so what were we doing? Right. We're designing well. So let's make it over here. Little gap here for clarity. This is the edge of the output wings, and we'll just keep going and going and going. We can go this far and then tear this stuff down. We can't go much farther because of the coal mine. I think that's okay. Or we could go a little bit higher up here and then dodge the coal mine. Yeah, let's do that. Let's leave a giant space behind just in case. We'll go above the level of the coal mine. That's high enough to include all of the green chips that I want. So from here on out, this is going to be the lower arm of the mass production. The production. Everything that is produced is going to be like this and this. We're going to need gear wheels. Work that out for me, please. Easy to fork that one out. There's nothing in the way. That's a good thing we set up this mini automatic. Okay, so gear wheels are set. Next, we're going to need iron. Lord knows we got plenty of that to work with. Fork me some iron. And bridge through here to help me get it off. Fork iron at the level desired so that there's no funky turns. Okay, we've got iron and gear wheels on one side. Next, we were green chips and question mark for the other, right? So let's put a break in the chain for green chips and other question mark to go through. I am leaning towards copper for the other, but I haven't finalized my decision yet. Maybe steel is the better choice. I don't even know all the steel recipes. Alright, there comes green. And one more to go. More belts, please. See that? In the time it's taken me to set all this stuff up and just pop my head back, 92 belts waiting for me. It's the beauty of passive production. You hit really high numbers really quick. I think with this, if we're leaning towards copper, so far nothing that I want to make here uses copper. So I think we leave this one as an open-ender. I'm probably just going to end up going with steel, honestly. We'll see. We're going to go quickly drop off this 14 green science here and start working on what? Tool belt, steel production, engines, military science, advanced automation, better inserters, flammables, night vision, belt immunity, personal battery. A lot of options at this tier. Instead of worrying about the super advanced science, let's go with the basic but useful science. Better guns, better furnaces, better belts, better inserters, maybe better inserters. Oh wow, I already have the tech for that. Okay, cancel this. We can always come back to it. This is key for me. And, yeah, what does it take to make this? Copper and gears? So, we already have those two resources in abundance now. So, we're just gonna do one of these and grab a ton of gears and a ton of copper. We're going to run down to the science labs and just kind of set that up automatically. I know it's kind of sloppy middle gaming, but I do not want to have this big a gap in my production. I can come back and fix this later. The number of things I do temporarily and then undo because I'm just so eager not to lose even a little time probably cost me more time than if I just did it right the first time. Okay, you need gears, you need copper. Alright, so that should really just be enough to keep things going for a while. Good. Now we'll get through electronics. The problem is this, I want to make these fancy poles and these fancy inserters, but without knowing the formula for them off the top of my head, I might mess up the production. So what we're going to do actually is, rather than start on this, which I really do want to, but I don't know what to put on the fourth line or the layout, let's at least get the temporaries going, right? Okay, so what's an assembler machine look like? This, no problem. Power. We have all of the resources right here, so that'll set up nicely. And then when it's done, we spit it out. If we leave this line here as a auxiliary production input line, I could actually include even more resources. So maybe I actually don't want my outputs there. What's another way I could do outputs on this thing? I could do this. I could do this, this, this. Okay, and then, so we have all this here. We could have a jump from here to here, and then an output that comes down and through. That's pretty cool. It's pretty cool looking. Or we could use a long arm inserter, like so, and drop it here. That's a little nicer. Easier to see and all that. And we're going to need a bunch of chests eventually. Okay, we got one of the recipes available now. We'll start with this one, and then we'll quickly add electric poles. So, let's review. This comes in, very slowly puts all the gears we need, makes an assembler machine, and passively, I'm going to get assembler machines going. Okay, but advanced assembler machines build off of those. We'll get to that shortly. For now, let's work on inserters. Clustered with one space, clustered with one space, clustered with one space, clustered with one space, Oh, we're out of machines. Lucky for us, the first thing we did was made machine production so we can make more machines. Micro machines. And let's get all of the inserters written up. Good. Oh, out of machines. Grab another. Okay, good. So what's next? Well, we're gonna need more inserters. So here's an inserter. We have all the core resources. Now we're gonna want red inserters. That takes yellow inserters. So no problem. In this direction, make me a red inserter. Yeah, there we go. Now we're gonna need output tracts for these. So same as we did with the other one. There's gonna be a small break in the line and a inserter to make chests for them, and boom. And we're not gonna fill these to the brim. I think 500 is plenty. Next up, we want funky belts. Yeah, we want funky belts. Oh wait, these take green, so maybe we hold off on funky belts. We want power poles. Yeah, we want power poles. We do want power poles. We want both funky belts and power poles actually. So why don't you start researching? We're gonna need 30 seconds each and 200 greens, so we're not at the point that we can automate that just yet. And this is gonna take 120, so we may as well start this. I mean, how far away are we from that many? We're very far away. But I do have the ability to make, in fact, I have already automated all the parts to green science. So really, you could argue delaying building my sciences for building my factory is actually slowing down my tech a lot right now. Well, you could argue it, but I'm not going to. Instead, I'm just going to see if I can't make a dedicated greenery right here. What does it take? Transport belts and inserters? Yeah, I have enough here to make a bunch of those. So why don't you just start making green science on site out of inserters and transport belts, whatever I've got. Green science. And while you're at it, you can even make fresh belts right here using my abundance of stuff that makes belts. So now I have automated green science, at least for 600 pockets worth. Let's start with electric engineering, and then we'll build our way up to automation 2 and logistics 2. Perfect. And in the interim, we'll just leave space for those advancements. Back to the mini mall. By the way, I forgot to check, but oh wow, people still watching. Yay. Um, I do need to call it at some point, but this game's just too much fun. Just one more effect is strong with this one. Already the mall is doing its work. It's producing what I need to produce my factory. All right, so other kind of inserters necessary are blue, purple. Blue takes yellow as a dependency, purple takes blue as a dependency. Perfect. So, you need yellow as a dependency, you've got it. And we'll set up another one of these mini holes and another chest with another wire. Okay. Purple takes blue as a dependency. Perfect. So, oops, I'm gonna need more of these. I have 19 because this thing is working already. Everything you need to build the factory you can get right here. So one-stop shop, hence it's a shopping mall. Did we finish something? Oh no, I just hit the wrong button. All right. Boop, boop, boop. Oh, forgot to extend this. Interestingly enough, we haven't used the secondary resource line here, so that's still available if I decide I need something else to make this work. So we've got all of these. Oh, what is this? I'm not going to make burners. Burners I don't need enough of. Pipes I might need one day. Pipes and bendy pipes, and they can be made right here. Perfect. We can use this spot. So pipes and bendy pipes. Now, there's another very huge long-term implication for a system like this, and that is that if you get to the point of logistics robots, this is a nice central hub of logistics for your whole factory because all the stuff you need is being made in one place. So you can just convert all these to supply chests and voila, you can supply your whole map. Actually, this one tends to be kind of demanding. Oh my god, I have 50 of these inserters just waiting around now. That's fantastic. I don't know what it takes for higher automation, but I'm fairly sure whatever it is going to need this as a dependency. And I already have everything else needed. So when the time comes that I have that set up, I will happily do that and turn this recipe on. So, What's missing here at this point is our conveyor belts, I think. Energy distribution's at 28%. Conveyors haven't started. I'm going to cheat here and look up the recipe for conveyor belts because I would rather start the production now than get it wrong later. So conveyor belts, Factorio. Let's see what the official formula is. Yellow belts we already know. Red belts require yellow belts plus gears. Yellow splitters require, red splitters require yellow splitters plus gears plus green chips, and red underground belts require yellow underground belts plus gears plus red. So perfect. So basically, each red requires the yellow as a dependency plus what I already have in the chain. So I'm going to need a double hub for every type. If this is going to be, for example, the I think I'm going to leave these slots empty at the front and then put all my belting at the back. Nah, I need belt all the time. Belt deserves to be at the front. So if this is basic yellow belt, this is going to be red belt. And this is going to be... Oh, we're out of red inserters. Quick, go back, grab a bunch. We're not out anymore. God, that feels good. Alright. Boop. Boop, boop. I should probably automate chest production too at some point. Anyway, whatever. We need to feed resources in. Okay, so now we're making belts infinitely. And you know what? We could use a fast inserter here to really pick up the process speed a little. Clearly we don't ever run out of these. So next, the yellow crosses over into here. We also feed it gears to make red belt once the logistics are researched. Meanwhile, 1,000 miles away, I'm going to leave this open. Red, or yellow and red. So glad that we did this above the level of the coal mine. We would literally be, like, stuck right here otherwise. Out of belt. Well, wouldn't you know it, we literally just added belt to the factory options, so now we have 50 of them. That's convenient. Yellow undergrounds. Which we only have so many because we did have an automation set up before that did something very similar to this. More undergrounds. And this is going to be for the reds when they are produced with a rapid insertion because they take a lot of gears and supplies on both ends. And why is this not working? Oh no, you need basic belt to make this work? Oh boy, okay, this is a problem. If basic belt is the root, then this is not gonna fly. I don't know what I'm gonna do with this stuff, if anything. I'm gonna leave it here for now. Maybe it'll become power poles in the future. But this is not gonna fly for belt production because I need a much larger factory to make that work. Okay. Good thing we caught this in the design early. Basic yellow belt can be here. It can supply funky red belt, and it can supply. So this is where it's going to supply funky red belt. No. Blank everything. Blank the thing. Basic yellow belt can be here. It can supply splitters. It needs to supply both splitters and okay. So it's going to have to be in two places. Yellow belt's here. It supplies both splitters and undergrounders. And that in turn supplies funky undergrounders. and funky splitters. And finally, we have a second pile that is just for belt production and funky belt production. And if we're doing that, we may as well do that all the way at the front of the factory, where belts, because belts are probably the thing I'm going to grab the most often, so it makes sense to have it closer to home. At this point, the grabbing is kind of becoming a rather extensive march, don't you think? Okay. Once logistics completes, we'll be able to actually program these all in red. Until that happens, just make sure that the basics are working without red. We've got basic yellow. This actually doesn't need to be stored because this basic yellow is purely as a means of supplying these, their wants. These basic undergrounds, however, do need to work. And I think they will work just fine. I don't know what I'm going to put on this. It looks like it's kind of on its own. So maybe it can just be a basic chesty. Misty chesty. Pipes are coming through nicely. Funky assembler once it's ready. And basic belts, just like we had before, please. Basic belts, funky belts when the day comes. We don't have any military on all this, so we should probably put guns and ammo into this eventually. Not strictly speaking the kind of thing that this system was designed for, but it would be prudent to have a nice place I could just always go to grab bullets. So, look at that beauty. Everything you need to grow a factory just sitting in easily grabbable reach. I want to make sure that I have these fairly limited in production. I don't want to be making hundreds of thousands of something that I only need 50 of. But yeah, with this completed, I feel very good about calling it a day. Next stop. Oh, you know what could be? What about radars? Yeah, just give me some radars here, why don't you? How are we doing on power? Excellent. So we'll just get a stack of radars here, and you're booked. That's fine. No, this is not for radars. I forgot. This is intentionally blanked until we get Funky Belt. So, whoops. We're gonna have to put that into Red Belt eventually. But there's no reason not to put that on, so I guess I could, if it's the same basic resources and it's something I need to help me with other, not for a science research, but just to help me out in general, why not? Hmm. Was it radar we were thinking of? Oh, miners. Miners could go on this. Sure, why not? Make me some electric miners, boyo. And I would say I'll never need more than 100 at a time, hopefully. Like when I find a new ore mine to tap. Radars, I think, was floated at some point, so why not? And the point of this isn't to be efficient. Clearly, it's going to take forever for us to fill up even half of these. If this was a high throughput system, I would have a problem. This is intentionally a low throughput system. It doesn't matter if it takes a year to make half this stuff. The point of it is to get it done eventually so that while I'm doing other things, all my factory's resources are constantly in use. All right, radars. Perfect. Okie dokie. Gap in the system is fine. All right, and now that that's all set up, we can start working on basic science. If we want, we can clear this space here, run gears and copper, make a giant red sciencery, pipe it down, and funnel it into the sciencey, and we're good. In fact, I think we should establish that right now. That this space here This space here is intended. How far can we pull it? Is this the limit? This space here is intended for the return of sciences to the bottom of the chain. I wonder if that could work. So then this would have to hold that way. This would have to come here, that way. Very good. And now any science we produce comes down through here. Any science we produce comes down through here. 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 Oh wow, we actually... What is this? Oh, we ran out of grabbers? Huh. Good. Good problem to have. Why is this not working? You're producing, you're producing, you're producing. This is why it's not working, because there is no means for it to actually reach here. So we'll do a bypass here. There we go. I'm going to have to worry about that in the future, make sure my belt feeder actually is working, but cool. In the meantime, why don't you go ahead and science a little. Okay, so once upon a time, so eventually, when the science feed is ready, it can come through here, and at that point, I'll tear all this thing out and put in a better system, and it can feed in to here. Cool. So that's how we're going to return sciences that are completed from the factory into the science lab. Then we just pull this all the way up. And there we go. We're ready to start making some science. We also just ran out of belt. So to resolve that issue, let's go back to our belt makers, which apparently this was some leftovers that I had been working on at some point. And where is our mall? Oh, there it is. You know what we could do to make the mall even slicker? This whole row is empty, or it should be anyway, right? We're not cutting any power lines doing this? Okay. We're going to add a escalator, a walkalator here. Technically, no resources go on it, but I can now walk quickly down and grab a bunch of fun stuff on my way through the mall. Okay, I clearly have way too many of these. Let's dump that. I don't have too many of these. We'll grab that. Oh, whoa, whoa, whoa. We're having brownouts. Interesting. Should I add engines to the mall? I mean, I can. They would have to go near the pipes, which means I would have to redo some stuff to make space. Do I care? Yeah, I care a little. What is an engine made of? Perfect, iron gears and pipes. So if I just do this to grab the iron gears, this to grab the pipes, and this, 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 this. At the price of it looking a little sloppy, I admit. Boom. Iron plates, grabbed up. we'll eventually have steam engines coming through here. It's not strictly required, but it's a cool way to double up on my pipe value. I will eventually need more with pipes, but that's just a thought. Iron plates are not actually making it this deep anymore. They're all being hogged by, well, prior needs. And that's okay. The point of this isn't for it to be efficient. It might take a year for this to filter all the way to the end and make stuff, and that's fine. That's why conveyor belts are so high up in priority and up front, because they're so important to have going. Anyway, where are we on power? We're like right at the limit of what the system can handle. So let's quickly throw down a few more boilers and expand the power grid just a little bit. Hmm. And boop, 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 boop. Okay, Steam's online. We have a much more escalated power grid now. And look at this, look at this. This tiny trickle of iron that's coming in is the true iron input of my factory, now that it's constantly being siphoned off by the gear factory and this. Ooh, interesting. We should be mixing host as well. Not that it matters terribly. Backlog. So, I guess we're good here. I could do more with this, but no. Let's throw down our first science to prove the value of having done all this. What is the first science? Red needs copper and gears, no problem. We're gonna have a red sciencery that needs copper and gears. So we're gonna need copper on one line, gears on another line coming in. It's pretty tight spacing, but I'm okay with that. And then we're gonna need that, and then we're gonna need this. Then we're gonna need boop, boop, boop. So now we've got our game plan. Now we just need to supply it with copper on one side, gears on the other. And also let's back it up a little bit, because I do like to have that kind of breathing room. Lebensraum is a big deal. Let's copper. Uh-huh. And remember, we would like to leave the science track as open as possible, so you can cut across, you can stay, and this is the level at which we will not allow interference. Good. And then wrong way, right way, copper goes through. Gears needs to come through next. This is going to be a long way across, no problem. Steel bypass. Gears are going to be the above track, so it's going to come across like this. So boop, 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 boop. Good thing that we have a mass production going of these underground belters, or I would run out constantly. I mean, look at it. Just to make one resource come through, it takes like 20. But it's worth it because my system stays neat and organized. Organization becomes hugely important the more the game goes on. The complexity of both recipes and what you need to do with those recipes increases. This is our red sciencery in the making. We just ran out of these. Rather than go to the factory to grab more, I'm just going to make some in my pocket. And we'll go there when I'm ready to scale up. Can I not reach the resources? Did I go on the wrong line? I think I messed this up. Yep, I messed this up badly. Do I want to redo it all in the interest of neatness? Yeah, I do. I'm not an artistic person, but I guess I do have an artistic bone if I care this much. An artistic bone. Night of Loneliness. Okay, now we've got iron and gears. This little hiccup here is proof that I am capable of being less anal about stuff. Gotta reverse that way. Good. We've got the red line coming through here. Same logic is gonna apply on this side. We're gonna need a copper splitty. This will do nicely. We're gonna need jump across here to here. Good. Then we're gonna need a iron wheel splitty. It's too tight. How are we gonna split off iron wheels here? I can go at a lower level. Also, we do not have enough iron supplying this at all. We're gonna need to go back here and make more iron somehow. The iron ore is completely packed, which means that we aren't using the furnaces enough, which means we could use the furnaces more, which means we should prioritize furnace tech to get to where we need to be. We don't have a view of the tech lab from radar, so let's quickly throw down some radar so that we can get a view of the tech lab from distance. But clearly it's not making green anymore. I have enough ingredients for green that I should be able to get that going again. Oh, it is making green. It's just taking a while. Because why not? Lord knows I'm already being kind of slipshod here. Once I get my steel, my advanced furnaces online, I can just directly increase production by just quadrupling the value of all those factories below. And this is before I've even started using steel. Once steel gets tapped, my throughput's just gonna go to hell again. Alright, we'll take belts, please. Lots of belts. We'll take a stack of assemblers. We'll take fast arms, please. We'll take some slow arms, too. We'll take some long arms. We'll take... I don't need that many boxes. I'll take big splitties. Undergroundies I don't need. Miners I don't need. Radars I don't need. But we will drop another radar. Assembler machines I do need. How come they're not being made? Oh, because we're just completely starved for iron gear wheels. And production here is starved for iron, not for number of assemblers. And iron is just slow to come by, period. So we're gonna need it to up our iron production. But that is neither here nor there. We've gotten one line of red potions done. Let's work on the other line, which is the gear line. In order to make that work, as previously discussed, we're just going to give plenty of space to cross over. Hop it off the line. Okay. I think what we need to do... Wait, for the sake of prettiness, we'll do that, just so it's obvious what's happening. Then, we're also going to do this. And that should buy us enough space to fork the iron gears off even lower. And then work our way up through and across to where it needs to be. And if that looks sloppy, well, it's not actually sloppy, it just looks it. But this, on the other hand, is a problem. Is there a way to extend it further? I would, but there isn't. Yeah, we're just gonna have to accept this is not gonna look as nice as I'd like. And then when I get red conveyors, I can extend it a little further and pretty it up more. But the real work, which was to get a double-sided red going, is complete. And now, these can join the appropriate intake, and off they go. I like the idea of these sciences being one-color tracks, or half-color tracks. Lord knows your throughput of science is not going to be belt limited anytime soon. Yellow belt should hold plenty of science. So the half track of red comes through here and fills up the thingy eventually. Good. That should keep us in red science for a while. And it was so much easier than it would otherwise have been because we had all the ingredients. Green science, by the way, isn't that hard either. It's what? Inserters and transport belts. Inserters are made by green, iron gear, and a plate. And transport belts are iron gear and plates. So if I get iron gear and plate in the middle and green on the edge, I can just make a line of green pots and send it down the line. We should do that and then call it a night. How many and then call it a night have I had so far? I don't want to answer that question. Oops. Off by one. You know what hasn't happened is a single biter attack. I think controlling their numbers by taking out that one colony strategically was a very good move. So this will be where the greens come in to here, sort of. And to make that happen, they're going to need to specifically enter on this side of the belt. Something like that. Yeah. How do I make this so I don't... They're going to have to specifically enter on the side of the belt that the red is not. Red comes in the medial side. I want green to come in the far side. This is the far side, basically. And so that I don't accidentally fix a non-broken situation in the future. Alright, so if greens are going to come in here, then we need greens to get outputted onto this line. In order for that to happen, we need two different resources to be made, and we need them both to be merged in. And those resources require 1, 2, 3 ingredients. So what we can do is this. We can have this be a return line like so. The greens come in this height. From however far they need to be. Okay, we got advanced material processing. Sweet. Better logistics, I think we were working on at one point. Let's just get that. So green science should be transport and inserters. Okay. So to make transport and inserters, let's go it like this. I'm going to need a resource coming in. I'm going to need two resources coming in. That's these guys. So let's split the factory to get them over again. Hmm. Hmm. There we go. Good, good, good. And then green chips will also have to be forked off at some point. Actually, that could be this point. Ooh, interesting. We need grabbers with greens, right? So what if we make grabbers on the low side? Like here. And we're leaving how many central lines for... We need 3 lines for science, which means nothing of note can be too close here. Green in, no green out, no green out, no green out. If this line is reserved for sciences, then I need to be very careful what crosses over. Oof. What is this? Oh, that's dealable. So how do we get a green across then? If these are the 3 sciences coming through? Well, we just crisscross the... Do we belt it over? We definitely have to split it. There's no question there. And then we have to turn it in like this, which means this has to be belt ported. Actually, this doesn't have to be because this line disappears at this height. These two have to be, so that's fine. Okay, so we have our resources. Not good. I don't know what I just did there, but I don't like it. Alright. And then the artery of the factory continues north. Relatively unabated. And then we're going to have a giant problem here. So if we can tech for landfill, that would be useful. Because we are about to need landfill big time. Otherwise, woof. Alright, so now we've got green production, green science production coming up. Alright, I gotta call it here. When we come back, we're gonna work on green science, but that's another day's job. I hope you all have enjoyed this as much as I have. I love this game. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Factorio 2.